Viewer discretion is advised. This series covers real events involving violence, crime and strong language that some viewers may find distressing. The content is intended for mature audiences. Please proceed with caution. When the gavel fell in 1969, sentencing Ronnie and Reggie Kray to life imprisonment for murder with a recommendation of a minimum 30 years, many believed this was the end of the Kray saga. But for the twins, their story didn't end in the courtroom. It merely entered a new chapter. Over the next 3 decades, the Kray twins, along with their older brother Charlie, would continue to shape their own legend, even as they lived most of their lives behind bars. This episode delves into their time in prison, their enduring influence, and their eventual deaths. It's a tale of power, resilience, and the unique notoriety that kept their names in headlines for years to come. Enjoy. Reggie Kray was initially sent to Parkhurst Prison, a high security facility in the Isle of Wight, where he was housed in a special Category A wing. His brother Ronnie, showing signs of severe mental instability, was sent to Durham Prison. Ronnie's time there was fraught with incidents of extreme violence. He frequently lashed out at other inmates and guards, unable to cope with the realities of his incarceration. Their mother Violet campaigned tirelessly to have Ronnie transferred to Parkhurst so he could be near Reggie. Eventually, her efforts paid off, and both brothers were reunited on C Block, Parkhurst's psychiatric wing. However, Ronnie's mental health deteriorated further, leading to his eventual transfer to Broadmoor Hospital for the criminally insane in 1979. Reggie was sent to Parkhurst Prison, where he found himself located just 2 cells away from one of his most formidable rivals, Charlie Richardson. The Richardson gang had been long-standing adversaries of the Kray twins, and this proximity had the potential to ignite serious conflict between the two. Upon learning of their close quarters, Ronnie Kray, known for his aggressive and impulsive nature, quickly sent word to Reggie that it would be necessary to eliminate the Richardson. The tension was palpable, and it seemed like violence could erupt at any moment. However, cooler, more level-headed individuals intervened. They mediated between the two sides, managing to broker a temporary truce that prevented any immediate hostilities. Despite the delicate peace, both Reggie and Charlie reportedly agreed if they ever crossed paths again on the outside, they'd settle their differences with a straightener. For those not in the know, a straightener is a one-to-one fight to settle differences. Once the straight has been won, the result is accepted and the feud is over. Nevertheless, this confrontation never materialised, leaving their rivalry unresolved and shrouded in the uncertainty of their turbulent world. Without the strong influence of his brother Ronnie, Rudy's temperament began to soften significantly. Reggie was recognised as the more astute and business-orientated of the twins, and he seized the opportunity to leverage the notorious reputation to generate income even while serving time in prison. Reggie skillfully brokered lucrative deals for various projects, including book deals and media interviews that highlighted their criminal pasts. Ronnie was always involved too, and the brothers remained in contact throughout their incarceration. Reggie's keen sense for business did not stop there. He played a role in the production of the 1990 film The Krays. In this film, the twins were portrayed by Martin and Gary Kemp, members of the popular band Spandau Ballet, further cementing the legacy in popular culture. Through these endeavours, Reggie not only maintained his relevance but also transformed their notoriety into financial gain, proving his ability to navigate the complexities of the criminal underworld and the entertainment industry. Reggie experienced incarceration in multiple prisons over the years, including Gartree, Wayland and Blunderston, each known for their strict security measures and challenging environments. Throughout his time behind bars, he prioritised his physical fitness, developing a rigorous training routine that earned him a reputation for exceptional strength and commitment amongst fellow inmates and staff alike. During his imprisonment, Reggie interacted with several notorious criminals, cementing his place in the annals of crime history. He shared close quarters with infamous figures, including the notorious Mad Frankie Fraser and members of the Great Train Robbery. He also crossed paths with the infamous Charlie Richardson, further highlighting the gravity of his surroundings and relationships he's forged within the prison years. In addition to his criminal associations, Reggie's personal life was marked by complexity. He navigated relationships with both boyfriends and girlfriends, revealing a multifaceted character behind his tough exterior. In a notable turn of events, he married Roberta Jones in 1997 while still incarcerated. This marriage not only underscored his ability to maintain loyal and emotional connections despite his circumstances, but also showcased his unique charm and the bonds he was able to cultivate even within the confines of prison walls. After being transferred to Broadmoor in 1979, Ronnie's life underwent a profound transformation. The structured and supported atmosphere of the hospital provided a stark contrast to the oppressive environment of prison. With proper medication for his schizophrenia, Ronnie began to show a remarkable improvement in his mental state. The calm surroundings, along with routine of daily life at Broadmoor, allowed him to flourish in ways he hadn't thought possible, offering a glimpse of hope and stability that had long eluded him. Visitors frequently noted that Ronnie seemed to embody the essence of overseeing Broadmoor, a testament to his commanding presence. Clad in impeccably tailored suits that accentuated his stature, he navigated the halls with a distinct air of authority, every step exuding confidence. Ronnie enjoyed hosting afternoon teas, carefully curating an atmosphere of grandeur but also of control. He held on to a sense of old-fashioned morality that, despite its peculiarities, remained unwavering throughout his life. One particularly infamous incident that highlighted this was his confrontation with the notorious Yorkshire Ripper Peter Sutcliffe. Ronnie's deep revulsion for Sutcliffe catalysed their clash. Ronnie confronted Sutcliffe in a heated encounter. The altercation was intense. However, the confrontation took a turn and Ronnie ultimately found himself on the long side of a skirmish, sustaining injuries from the encounter that left a lasting impression on him. Violet's death in 1982 marked a turning point for the brothers, as she had been their emotional anchor throughout their lives. Despite their notoriety and incarceration, their mother's funeral became an event of public interest, reflecting the enduring fascination with the Krays family. Both Ronnie and Reggie were temporarily released to attend the service at St Patrick's Roman Catholic Church in Chingford. However, due to strict Home Office restrictions, the twins were not allowed to attend the graveside burial at Chingford Mount Cemetery. Even so, their presence at the church caused a media frenzy and drew an enormous crowd. The funeral itself was a lavish affair, attended by close family, friends and a handful of celebrities. Local East End residents also turned out in droves to pay their respects to the family matriarch, who many remembered fondly as a kind and generous woman despite her infamous sons. It was the last time all three Kray brothers, Ronnie, Reggie and Charlie, were seen together in public. The event was a sombre reminder of their strong family bonds amidst the chaos and violence that surrounded their lives. Ronnie Kray's death from an heart attack in Broadmoor Hospital at the age of 61 marked the beginning of the end of the Kray legacy. His funeral was a spectacle unlike any other, more akin to a state occasion than a farewell of a convicted gangster. The funeral service was held at St Matthew's Church in Bethnal Green, a location steeped in Kray history. The streets of the East End were lined with thousands of mourners, curious onlookers, some paying genuine respects, others drawn by the legend of the Krays. Crowds stretched down the Mile End Road, a testament to the enduring fascination with Ronnie and his twin. The funeral procession featured a black horse-drawn carriage with Ronnie's coffin, which was draped in a Union Jack flag, a nod to his deeply ingrained sense of patriotism. Behind the hearse, a convoy of cars carried family members and close associates. Reggie was granted temporary release. He was visibly grief-stricken. He walked behind the hearse handcuffed to two prison guards, a reminder he was still incarcerated. Other notable attendees included figures from London underworld, as well as celebrities and former acquaintances. Notorious gangster turned security operator Dave Courtney was heavily involved in managing the event. ensuring the funeral ran smoothly and was adequately secured. Broadmoor staff who had known Ronnie described him as both terrifying and charismatic, and this duality was reflected in the atmosphere of the day. It was a poignant farewell to a man who had been larger than life, even in confinement. The death of Charlie Kray, the eldest of the Kray brothers, was another significant moment in the story of this infamous family. Charlie, who had often been seen as the quieter and more pragmatic sibling, has stayed in the background compared to his notorious younger brothers. Nevertheless, his funeral drew considerable attention. The service was held in the same East End church as Ronnie's, St Matthew's in Bethnal Green. While the turnout was significant, it was a more subdued affair compared to Ronnie's funeral, reflecting Charlie's less public persona. However, for those in attendance, it was still a deeply emotional event. Reggie, again temporarily released to attend, appeared frail and visibly aged. His grief was evident as he said goodbye to his older brother. By this point, Reggie's own health was deteriorating, and those who saw him at the funeral remarked on how much the years in prison had taken their toll. The atmosphere at Charlie's funeral was sombre and reflective, a stark contrast to the grandeur of Ronnie's send-off. It was a quieter farewell, but no less heartfelt. Reggie Kray's death from bladder cancer at the age of 66 marked the end of an era. His funeral was the final chapter in the story of the Kray brothers, a culmination of their rise, fall and enduring legacy. Held once again at St Matthew's Church in Bethnal Green, Reggie's funeral attracted thousands. The streets of the East End were packed with mourners, many of whom had never known Reggie personally but felt compelled to witness the funeral of one of Britain's most infamous figures. Reggie's funeral procession mirrored that of his twin, featuring horse-drawn carriage and a convoy of luxury cars. However, unlike Ronnie's, there was an air of finality and nostalgia. Many in attendance reflected on the passage of time and the end of the Krays dynasty. Notable attendees included former associates, celebrities and ageing gangsters who had once been rivals or allies of the Krays. The media coverage was extensive, with many outlets framing the funeral as the closing of a dark but fascinating chapter in London's history. Reggie's widow, Roberta, who had married him while he was in prison, was present and deeply emotional. She had been a staunch supporter of Reggie in his later years and advocated for his release during his battle with cancer. For the East End community, the funeral was both a spectacle and a moment of reflection. The Krays had been part of the cultural fabric for decades, but their passing symbolised the end of a particular era in London's history. The funerals of the Kray brothers and their mother were extraordinary events that drew attention far beyond their immediate circles. They were marked by strict security protocols, immense public interest, and striking contrast in tone from Violet Kray's heartfelt farewell to the larger-than-life spectacle of Roddy and Reggie's processions. The sheer number of attendees and the turnout from both the public and associates of the Kray family reflected the enduring fascination with their lives and legacy. At each event, the streets of the East End come alive with a mixture of mourners, onlookers, and those drawn by the infamy of the Kray name. While their security constraints placed on Reggie during his temporary release served as a visible reminder of the brothers' crimes, the funerals themselves remained focused on the family, tradition, and loyalty, all marks of their upbringing and the East End community they came from. I was born and raised in East London before moving to Essex. East London, an area forever tied to the legacy of the Krays. Growing up, it felt as though everyone had some kind of personal connection to them. There was always someone claiming, "You better watch out, my dad, or my uncle, or my brother knows the Krays." It becomes such a common refrain that as a kid I was convinced the entire world must be mates with them. But the East End I grew up in is a world away from what it is now. The working class Cockney community, once the art and soul of the area, has been pushed further out, many, like me, settling around Essex. The pubs, streets and markets where the Krays once held court are now almost unrecognisable, and yet the memory of the twins lingers. Even now when I visit the old haunts, I occasionally meet someone who remembers those days. The few old timers left don't paint the romanticised picture you often hear in films or in books. To them, the Krays were violent men who were ruled by fear. They weren't heroes, they were criminals. but even those who criticise them can't deny the impact they had. For better or for worse, they become synonymous with the East End and a particular moment in history. Their funerals were a stark reminder of the legacy left behind, a name that could still fill the streets, draw the media and stir fascination long after their time had passed. The Krays built an empire that crumbled under its own weight, but their story, like the myths that surround them, endures. History will always remember the Krays. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this chapter on the Krays. If you haven't watched the entire series, please do check out the others to get the full story. Please take a moment to like, comment and subscribe. These things really help my videos get greater reach and help my channel to grow. I really appreciate every single one of you that does that. Stay safe and keep your eye out. We're starting a new chapter in London's dark archives next time.